Hello everyone. So the holiday season is nearly upon us, so it's time for a little party. And this time, the party is with the Lyra. I built a classic Fen Festival list inspired by the greats of people like LWB. Let the festivities begin and on with the show. So let's start first with the main part of this deck, and that is the Lyra Festival. So at dusk, if you control a fleeting character, another anchored character, and yet another asleep character, you will win the game. So that means that if you have 3 different characters with one of these conditions each, you will win the game despite of how far you are on the tumble tracks. To get this done, we will have a lot of draw mechanics, a lot of cost reduction cards, and also some things that return from your hand, and a lot of spells, of course. So before we start with our characters, I think we will move back to the permanents, because one of the best additions in the new set is the Opera House. It's a 2-mana landmark permanent that you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a spell, you may draw it. But the amount of spells we got in this deck, you will certainly be able to draw a lot from this card alone. And if you have 2 of them at once, you can even draw 2 cards a turn. Also, because we are running a festival list, we are very susceptible. To removal. Specifically, you need 3 characters, and if one of those status is removed, then you cannot win by a festival. So that's why we are running a Parliament of Ashes. You will draw your card, it's only 2 mana, and all your characters have top 1. Based on the end game, this is the card that you want to have. With the Lyra Festival, as you see, this deck doesn't run any anchor characters at all. The only way to give anchor is by the Lyra Festival. That's why we run the rare. We have plenty of ways to give things fleeting and asleep, just not anchored, and that's why if we have 3 characters on the field, you give play Lyra Festival, anchor something, and you will have all states there. How do we do that? As soon as you get around 7, 8, 9 mana, you have enough mana to play out a festival, a counting sheep, and a character. And that is what this deck is looking forward to. So let's move to the spell counting sheep. You may target 2 expeditions, and you may create a 1/1/1 Woollyback token in each of them, and then all characters with 1 or less gain a sleep. This way you have the 2 mana, 2 bodies that are asleep. Well, you probably want to give one of those Woollybucks as well the anchor, that you have a sleep character and an anchor character, and then you only need a character played from reserve, with the a cappella training to give something fleeting. To get to this board state, we need a lot of draw, and that's why I run 1 magical training. It's just a 1 mana draw a card, but which we can cycle with Sleight of Hand. We can recycle it with the Hathor as well, and there are probably enough ways to get it back to your hand, or maybe even play it as soon as possible. Lyra Signet, also you have 3 options. You can play a 2 mana spell that target 2 characters and give both of them fleeting, which sometimes is really handy as well. You draw a card and you roll a die, and on a 4+ you resupply. That's the most used option for me, because you can have a draw, and if you're lucky on the roll, you also have a resupply. And with this deck, you have a lot of cost reductions and stuff that can help you combo along even further. And sometimes you don't want to lose an expedition. You have like 4 cards in reserve, and you can actually give something for boost to make sure that you live a little bit longer. Twinkle Twinkle is the second spell that gives a lot of sleep. So we need a sleep for the festival, but it also makes sure that the next card you play costs 1 less, and that's actually very important in this kind of deck. Because if you want to do a Lyra Festival turn, you want to make sure that 2 or maybe 3 cards in reserve already have the cost reductions, so you can actually play more cards in the turn than your win conditions to make sure that your opponent is spending all their mana before they can interact with you. Twinkle Twinkle is just also that spell. It can put you something in sleep. It can make sure that your opponent is getting slept as well, so you don't lose on your expeditions as quickly. And specifically, the card reduction is really, really helpful. Subduende is just here for draw a card. It's just too good to not have it in your deck. You need 2 boosted characters in play or reserve, and they can exchange boost as well. But normally we don't run a lot of boosts, so it is mostly been here for the draw card. Sleight of hand, you can exchange a target card in your reserve with a card from your hand, which is very helpful to play a 1 mana magical training out, sleight of hand it back to your hand, and maybe put a Twinkle Twinkle in there, or a Martingale in there, or something else to make your next card cost 1 less, effectively making sure that the sleight of hand costs nothing if you reduce the next spell. Then for the characters, we run the common Martingale, which is actually just a 1 mana 1/1/0 with the next card you play this afternoon cost 1 less, and we have it here for it's a 1 mana after you, and of course it's the cost reduction as well. We run the Studious Disciple at rare, which is the next spell you play this turn costs 1 less as soon from the reserve ability and from the support ability, which is very nice because sometimes you need for the festival win a fleeting character. Studious Disciple is just doing that. You play the Disciple, the next spell you play this afternoon costs 1 less. This is from the reserve, so effectively reducing the cost of the next card with 1, making this card effectively be 0. We have Hathor as well. You can return another card from your hand, which is really good with all of our spells, and with one of maybe 2 of my uniques as well. And the last simple character is Will-O-the-Wisp. It's a very good 1 cost Will-O-the-Wisp. It's a very good first turn character that gets into the reserve for 3, blocking your opponent on other expeditions other than water. And the support ability again. The next card you play this turn costs 1 less, which all of our characters almost have. For my uniques, I use a simple Martingale that can return cards from my reserve back to my hand. So I have the magical training, then I can play the training, I can play the Martingale, get it back, play the training again, and this guy may put something else in reserve, like some things like the Will-O-Wisp of the Disciple, get it back from my hand again and start over the next turn, which is really, really fun to be able to recycle. My Paper Herald is a 1/1 for 0/1/0, which doesn't seem a lot of stats, but from hand each character controlled by target player gains fleeting, which is really good to use against things like Sigismar, to make sure that they have a lot less card advantages on you. But also it's the win condition for myself if I don't have a fleeting character. And it can be played from hand. I target myself, and all my characters gains fleeting for the festival win, which is really, really great. With cards like Hathor, or maybe even with the Martingale or with the Sleight of Hand, I can make sure that Paper Herald come back to my hand, and I can play it over and over again, making sure that my opponent is playing from hand, and everything they have, they will get fleeting because it's only 1 cost. And my third unique, Gavroche, isn't really that great, but it's there for the support ability as well. You may return a card from your reserve to your hand. It's just making sure that the comboing of the cards that I need the most are there. So which cards do I want to move from reserve to my hand? Well, most of the times it's the magical training, the counting sheep whenever it got resupplied, because I don't want it to be sabotaged. The sleight of hand is of course a really great card to get back. The twinkle twinkle is really fine to get back as well. So those are the cards that I normally will look for. And even the Lyra Signet for 2 mana to draw a card and hopefully a resupply is great. So for the early stages of the game, you want to draw a lot of cards and making sure that you're somehow, getting your opponent blocking on some expeditions by using the sleeps and stuff. Note that the counting sheep is also sleeping everything from 1 cost or less. So you can, if you have 2 in hand, set up for the festival turn by playing counting sheep and making sure that everything on your board is asleep, and afterwards you can play it again, making sure you have enough bodies to trigger the final anchor ability on. So as I said earlier, we don't run any anchor ability at all, except for the Lyra Festival itself. So that it will be the only way to get anchor. So that's about it. How to get the festival win? Normally you can play it out first. A Studious Disciple. Maybe you have 1 or 2 card reductions in the reserve. You can discard like a Will of the Wisp, play a Studious Disciple for free. The next spell you use this afternoon is also costing 1 less. Maybe you are removing your other card from the reserve, making cards like counting sheep cost 1 less, so maybe 2 less with the Disciples effect, and then you have already played 2 spells with 1 mana. You can do sleight of hand, magical training maybe first if you want to, really be slow playing. So this deck has some ways to making sure your opponent is like 2 or 3 played cards already ahead of you before you actually need to play down your festival. With the Parliament of Ashes in play, your characters will be tougher to be removed. Maybe you have 1 or 2 in play and they already need to remove a little bit of some characters with the counting sheep. So afterwards, the last card you play is the Lyra Festival for probably 4, maybe for 2, depending on how you're playing this list. And that way you can slam Festival, put anchor on one of your counting sheep, and with the Studious Disciple you have 3 characters in play and win the game via that deck. This deck, I believe, is very good against any of the slower decks that things like Sierra, where Sierra wants to play 3-cost permanents and making their mana per card really high compared to you, and in that way you can easily get the festival win there. Also, you can get away with things like Hostage, because Hostage will normally play things like Celebration Day for a lot of mana, making sure that they don't have anything to play with no mana, and then you can trigger the festival win. The really fast builds might be a little bit too fast for this build, how I built it. You need to be able to block them with the Will of the Wisp and with the Hathor. I think you can do it with a lot of draw in this deck and a resupply in this deck with the Fen and Crowbar hero itself. I think it's really okay to hold them back, and as soon as you have all pieces in hand and in reserve, you can trigger and making sure that you can win without them interacting. I even think that you can start this on turn 4 if you got a Disciple in the reserve, and counting sheep and a festival. You only need 6 mana to trigger it. You play the Disciple from reserve, counting sheep for 1 afterwards, and then 4 for festival and you are already, well, met the conditions for the festival game. So that's it for today's Fen Festival deck. Please let me know in the comments what you would change. Cards that I did think about were, of course, the Hatter, which has a reserve ability with Anchor, but it sometimes feels really weird to draw that card, so I did not use that at all. Maybe a rare Kodama is also really great. From hand it's a sleep, from reserve it's an Anchor, but I don't have the rare slots available for that card because I think this deck is fun to play. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoy this deck as much as I do. I am the Bravos Header and I will hope to see you again soon.